What's up, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be going through one of my all-time favorite game franchises, Halo. So boom, and these aren't including the RTS and the Spartan Assault. So there's no Halo Wars, Halo Wars 2, or Spartan Assault, because I don't necessarily count those as like main Halo games. They're good, they're fun, but they're not, they're not the same. First and foremost, Halo 2. I'm gonna be honest. Halo 2 as an overall game, amazing. As a campaign, strictly storytelling perspective, it's amazing. It's good. But then when it comes to like mechanics and some of the core elements of Halo 2, y'all know them Jackal snipers, boy howdy, they will ruin your day. And for that reason alone, it will not make S tier. It just won't. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. This is where I'm probably gonna tick some people off. Halo CE's campaign is not that good. It's fun, like it's enjoyable, but it's very long and it's very one-dimensional. Which is fine in some ways, but if I'm going to look at like the holistic approach to these things, it's definitely like it's C tier. I understand it started it all. I loved Halo 1. I do. But part of me is also like, I'm tired of it. It's been remade 3-4 times now and they're doing it again. So it gets C tier, So the missions are very one-dimensional. Yeah, there's not a lot of like uniqueness to them. And that's fine. It's okay. It started it all. It's an amazing story. It sets the world really well, but there are better ones. Halo 3, easily S tier. This campaign, it finishes that OG trilogy, right? Like, and of course, it's going to go up there in that way. Love it. You finally get the arc. That mission's incredible. And then you get the Chief and Arbiter teaming up, and you get that whole thing there. Obviously, spoilers, rest in peace Johnson, what a legend. Truly just an amazing story. Halo 3 ODST also goes S tier. It's just an incredible campaign and so unique and so well done. That noir type setting, amazing. Not having shields and having to like be way more strategic in the way you play, again, brings that uniqueness to it that I really, really enjoyed. And I love that noir night sort of like investigative setting. And I like playing as an ODST. I appreciate that difference in gameplay. This game is a lot more challenging than other Halos. Halo 4 is pretty B tier in terms of campaign. I actually like it more than Halo 1. And I know this is where I tick a lot of people off. It had a better overall story in the sense that I was hooked from the beginning, right? Like that opening mission after Halo 4 where you're floating in space and you roll up on Requiem and you have to do that amazing first mission where you get sucked in and you immediately fight the Prometheans and you get those amazing animations of the weapons. And I think it was truly like incredible in that way. Amazing game. Absolutely liked Halo 4, and I'm sorry, I liked it better than Halo 3 or Halo 1, sorry. And Halo 4 also had Spartan Ops, and this is where I'm like kind of debating where I put Spartan Ops. Is it a multiplayer thing? Does it count as story? And I'm going to count it as story in this sense because you could play it solo. Spartan Ops was incredible. Absolutely loved the way they continued the story of the Infinity and getting those like unique missions and those cutscenes. Chef's kiss. Amazing. It hurts my soul to do this, but Halo 5's story is terrible. Just on a pure campaign basis, this game is booty cheeks in terms of its multiplayer, its campaign like storytelling. It's trash. I love this game, and it will forever be one of my favorite Halo games just based on gameplay. But the story is terrible and genuinely doesn't make sense in half of what it's trying to do, which is sad to me. It really is sad that they had such an amazing opportunity to do something and it just didn't work. And I love how like 343 basically just like backtracks so hard. They make Locke to be this like Oni assassin. This supposed to be this like super secretive agent type person, and then he gets bested by Chief, and then he just is like a wallowed up, pitiful Spartan in comparison. And I get it, it's comparing a Spartan 2 to a Spartan 4. It's not a fair comparison, but even still. And then they just backtrack that so hard with Infinite, and that you just find out that he just dies. And it's like, okay, well, clearly you took a game direction and you didn't like it. And then the fact that like Vale can speak Sangheili and all these different things, I'm just like, that just doesn't make sense to me. There's a lot of little like idiosyncrasies in the story that I'm just like, nope, that does not need to be in there. Yeah, it's pretty garbage, which is sad. We're gonna go Halo Reach. See, I want to put it in S tier, but having 3 in S tier, I think, is criminal. So I think it goes A tier, but it's definitely, for me, above the Halo. It's definitely above Halo 2, but I don't know if I like it as much as... Now that I'm actually, like, thinking about this, I might... You know what? No. We're switching. We're going like this. It's going like that. Halo Reach is my favorite campaign by far. Absolutely love it. It is top of the list here. Love this game. Love the storytelling. Love Noble Team. Love that whole dynamic of it. Just an incredible storytelling perspective, and the fact that like you feel for these characters. You don't know that much about Carter. You don't know that much about Kat. You don't know that much about George and Emil and June, the members of Noble Team, but you feel for them. The writers did an incredible job at attaching you to these characters. And so, spoiler alert for an over 10-year-old game, when they die, you feel it. Like, you genuinely like feel the hurt that comes with it. And then when you understand that they all sacrificed their lives for the grandiose of the Halo trilogy of 1, 2, and 3, it just is so sweet, and it just adds that like cherry on top of like storytelling. And gameplay was super fun with the armor abilities and unique, and every level had a unique like challenge to it in some ways, right? Like whether it was like the space mission flying the sabers, that one was really good, or the Spire where you get to use like the grenade launcher for the first time, and it was amazing. And it has an amazing soundtrack in it, and so for that, it definitely is my favorite campaign in that way. So yeah, Halo 3 is great, but now that I'm thinking about it, it only has a couple standout missions. The rest are pretty cookie cutter. Lastly, Halo Infinite. Oh, how this game could have been so much better than it was. It hurts my soul to put it in D tier because I wanted it to be so good. I was so optimistic. I was so ready for this game to just blow everybody out of the water, and the open world aspect to it was unique, right? Like, I actually enjoyed some of the open world aspects to it. I thought that was really cool. I liked that you could, do the fobs, and you could expand your reach on, the Halo ring. I actually really liked that. But some of the missions were very boring and very like cookie cutter, and it honestly felt more genuinely like an Assassin's Creed game than it did a Halo game. In the fact that you have to find the radio beacons, then you gotta find this, and you gotta unlock that travel point, and you gotta do this, and there was just so much like filler garbage that I was like, where's the story in here? And then you have the atrocities that they're trying to make up for from the Halo 5 campaign, with Cortana somehow then like becoming this AI god, and then you have the whole like the Guardians, and then you don't see them, and then then you have the weapon, which is just like Cortana version 2, and I was like, it didn't make sense. And then they leave it on a cliffhanger, and they're supposed to release, like, it was supposed to be a 10-year live service game, and they were supposed to release DLC. That just didn't happen. So that really, really, really sucks, because the story in that game was cool. You actually could have done a lot of really good with it. They didn't. And I'm gonna be honest, didn't like the pilot. Did not like his character at all. I understand why he's there, right? Chief needs a buddy partner. He needs somebody in his ear. That's always been like the thing. Like he's always had Cortana, or he's had Johnson, or he's had Chief, or he's had Keys. Like he's always had somebody to like play off of, because he's not a very well endowed like vocal character. There's not a lot for the audience to like latch onto. So you need somebody to attach to. And it was supposed to be the pilot, but it's pretty one-dimensional. And I don't think they fleshed his character out very well, and that was kind of challenging in that way. So that's the tier list for the Halo campaigns. Pretty unique in this way, and I love the fact that like Halo has been going on for 20 years. That's amazing to me. It's one of the best brands in gaming. I genuinely still wholeheartedly believe that. But it does, as a longtime Halo fan, actually hurt me where the franchise is headed, or has been heading. So that's enough of that. Now that we finished ranting about the Halo campaigns, thank you for listening. Let's dive right into the multiplayer FPS games of the Halo franchise, and we'll rank them. So let's dive into ranking the multiplayer. Now, I want to say I have a couple of like criteria for the multiplayer like experiences. Okay, I was not privileged enough to necessarily play all of these games at their peak in multiplayer, so I'm going to take that into account. And so a lot of the basis that I'm going to be going off of is like split screen that I've played with a bunch of my friends over the years. Overall, just like feeling from the community, at least what I've read. And then also, like, I've played a lot of Master Chief Collection, and I played a lot of these games multiplayer. And so I'm going to have to try to sift through the bugs that Master Chief Collection had and try to get to the core of these like actual multiplayer experiences. And so if we're going by their like, and I'm not just going to like sound off of the community. So these are my opinions as well. This is why you guys watch the video, is to either most of the time disagree with me, or sometimes maybe even agree with me. And so we're going to start out hot. And I know you guys are not going to like this, but Halo 5 to me is the best multiplayer experience that Halo has done. Boom. I said it. Maybe I would actually argue it. I will argue with you, and I'll say it is tied with another one. But Halo 5's multiplayer is so fun, so unique, and like genuinely changed the way that Halo was played. And that sounds kind of crazy to say, but it did. I've said this on a lot of my streams to my friends, and this is something that I just wholeheartedly, genuinely believe. Spartans are not supposed to sit back and just shoot things. Like, lore-wise, they are tanks. They had shields, right? So they were diving in, punching and stabbing, and like a lot of the time they ran out of ammo and they were just punching and kicking and just slaughtering the Covenant with their bare hands. They threw hands. And so no Halo game has really like gotten that like movement, that like kinetic, like energetic like approach that like Spartans have, except Halo 5. Halo 5 is the only game to have actually added like some level of like map traversal and like beyond just sprint. You got the shoulder charge and the ground pound, and then you could like wall run. Basically, if you timed your Spartan charge right, you could shoot up walls. And while that was a bug, it was still really cool. And Halo 5 like genuinely made you feel like a Spartan, like smashing through walls. Was absolutely so much fun, and maps had interactive parts to it where you could ground pound through stuff and get a kill, and was genuinely so much fun. The gunplay, amazing, right? Pistol starts were a great addition. I like the battle rifle as well. I think the power weapons were fairly well balanced, actually. Some of my favorite maps, like the rig, come from Halo 5. Now, this is where I said it comes kind of like tied in this sense of like Halo 3's multiplayer is probably like culturally the most well known, for sure, like to the point where like people still will get together and play like Halo 3, to the point where like one of my old youth groups, we would do Halo 3 LANs and just like play it. It was so much fun, and the amount of split screen co-op I did with my friends in this game is just crazy. And this had the first Forge, had an amazing rank system, and had like just good voice chat, and like just so much fun. You had file sharing. You had the whole community like that created like Griffball, which is a game now that is a standard in Halo games going forward. Started in Halo 3. Some of the most amazing Forge Infection custom games started in Halo 3. And so they just mastered the community aspects. And I mean, the battle rifle is just incredible in this game, and they added, you know, some amazing maps and just an incredible overall experience in this, and it just worked. Like, I almost never ever can remember having a problem with Halo 3 online. Never. Some of that is probably just the robustness of the Xbox 360, and some of that is just the Bungie actually making good games that they cared about. DLC, right, came for this game, was awesome, and you know, it had the skulls, and you actually had to earn your cosmetics, which was fun. Like, I remember like having to find the skulls on Sandbox. You go into Forge, and you would build a little tunnel of the thing so that the mines couldn't kill you. You would design a little trap to get to the skull so you could earn your Hayabusa armor, right? Like, I can remember those things. I remember playing with people from Australia in Big Team Battle. I just randomly had an open mic on. I met these dudes from Australia. We just drove around on Standoff. And I drove him around. The guy was in the Ghost Herd. I think he went like 20-5 or something. It was just so much fun. And so easily Halo 3 gets up there in that way. Halo Reach, this is where, like, even though Halo Reach, I probably have the most fun memories playing this game, multiplayer was not the best. It goes A tier just because of the sheer level of Forge and custom games that came out of this game. But in terms of like actual like online multiplayer, there are some connection issues. Honestly, some of the maps were really not good in this game. Some of them were really bad. And then some of the spawns were bad, and just the design of the Forge pieces were just all gray. There's not a lot of pop. There wasn't a lot of color. It's just gray and blue, and I don't appreciate that. And that sounds like bad. I understand in some ways it works really well. And then just some of the things, it just didn't have all of the same level of like awe that the other ones had. This game was very boring in its gameplay. It was just DMRs across the map, ping, 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 and then it was basically just like that. And you would think with the armor abilities and different things that it would add like a spice to it, and some absolutely did. But for the most part, I found this game a little more like one-dimensional than the ones in the S category. And the lack of weapons, they added some good weapons, don't get me wrong, but the lack of weapons also like really threw me off. Like, there was not a good close quarters weapon really besides the shotgun. The AR was not the best. The pistol was pretty good, but that was more of a ranged weapon. Same with the DMR. There was no SMG. And then you had the plasma rifle and the plasma repeater. But again, they're just two. One just shot faster than the other. And so the creativity, while they look cool and they're like lore-wise were good, playing with them kind of not so good. Like the needle rifle, very cool, not the most viable in that way. And then when you compare that to, say, like a battle rifle or a carbine, I'm gonna take the battle rifle and the carbine all day. Halo Infinite's campaign or multiplayer is pretty bad. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in Halo Infinite. I saw it in there. Halo Infinite is probably one of the worst multiplayer experiences I ever had playing a Halo game. Not only did I play rampant hackers, like genuinely played a lot of cheaters, the matchmaking was terrible. And because the game was so bad, there was not that many people playing. So you just ended up like playing sweats the whole time and cheaters. And it was awful. And then the don't get me started on the armor core system was just terrible at launch. And the game, you could barely connect when the game first started. And while it looked good and it had some cool armor abilities and the weapons were fun, just wasn't it. And then the lack of Forge when this game came out, and the lack of any community made like elements really tanked this game, right? Because you had 4 games at least of amazing customs and Forge and all these kinds of things, and then Halo Infinite just didn't have any of that. It had a pretty bad campaign and a very mediocre, I would actually flip those, in a pretty mediocre campaign and a pretty bad multiplayer in that way. The maps were terrible in this, and so it just not it. Halo 3 ODST is a really hard one to do for campaign because it didn't have a traditional multiplayer. I will count Firefight though as multiplayer, and if we're going that, we're going C, and only because there's just not a lot of it in terms of like bulk of things to do. There's like 5 Firefight maps. They're fun, but you're only going to do them like once or twice, and then you're on to the next thing. And so while that stuff was fun, it wasn't like to the sheer level of like the rest of it, because it was kind of more of like a singular, it was almost like a DLC than it was anything else. And so that kind of has to go against it, only in the sense that there wasn't a ton to do for ODST. So that's kind of where it goes in the multiplayer. And that's also what I'm going to do for CE, for Halo 1. There was multiplayer. There was, but not really online. There was LAN, but it didn't like hit its like popularity really yet, and there just wasn't that a lot to do. And this is where I have to check my bias at the door and recognize I haven't played a lot of Halo 1. Like, this is one of those games I didn't get to play at its peak. And so I have to check my own bias at the door and recognize that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Magnum's fun. Super great, but it's very one-dimensional. So that's why it gets C tier. Halo 2, I'm gonna put in B tier, only because again, it's way better than the other 2 below it, absolutely. But again, I didn't get to play it like at its peak in that sense. And if I'm playing Halo 2 now, I don't like the multiplayer now in MCC. I really don't. And I think the ranking system, as much as everybody loves it, I don't think it's that good. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. Don't like it all that much. And maybe that's just because I grew up on a newer system of like, bronze, silver, gold, emerald, whatever, working your way up instead of just like winning a game, you go up, losing a game, you go down, right? Like maybe it's just cultural differences I can chalk it up to. But I think Halo 2, again, very one-dimensional when it comes to its gameplay. It was just battle rifle. That's literally all it was. Maybe rockets and stuff. And so while I had an amazing time playing Halo 2 Swords with my brothers, Lockout, oh man, it was so much fun in terms of like grandiose. For me, it didn't necessarily like reach the level that the 3 above it definitely did. And I understand that this game started it all for a lot of Halo fans, myself included. This is one that I probably played the most when I was younger, and so I love the game. It's not a knock at the game. It just, in comparison to the more modern ones, I think they had much more to offer. And I think they did more for the overall Halo community in terms of like multiplayer than Halo 2. Halo 2 is the foundation. Without that, the other things, right? Like this ran so these could fly. I get that. So now Halo 4. I actually played a lot of Halo 4 as well. I'm putting it just in B tier only because some of the game modes and everything in this game were really fun. Like Ricochet, man, they need to bring that game mode back. So much fun. It's kind of like Oddball and Griffball mixed, but with your guns. So much fun. The reason it's going B tier is because, man, the armor abilities were busted at the start of this game. And you had the pocket shotgun, the Promethean pistol, the bolt shot. Man, you literally had a pocket shotgun with your battle rifle, and then you had Promethean vision, which was quite literally just wall hacks, and it lasted way too long. And so the meta for this game took a long time for it to like flesh out and get to a point where it was like actually good. Loved making Create a Class. That was an amazing change. I think a lot of the Halo community was up in arms about it and were like, this turning into Call of Duty. I don't think it did. I actually think it was really fun. I can remember some of the classes that I had. Like I had a big team battle one that had like engineer on it, and that's the other thing. I loved the customization in this game, and I love the loadouts in the sense that you had like the engineer that you could run, which gave you like engineer. You had one ability, you had like your passive abilities, and so you could run like engineer, or you could run wet work, or you could run like, there's a whole bunch of different ones. And then the armor design was really cool because you did challenges and then you earned cosmetics. And so I remember like going through, and there was like the Pioneer was what everybody always did first because you got an XP boost. And then I remember grinding for a week straight to get enough splatters to get the lime green helmet visor, because that's what I wanted so bad. And not a lot of people had it, and it was so much fun. And like I remember like playing this game day one launch. I had a Halo 4 steel case and the Halo 4 controller. Went to the midnight release, absolutely loved it. Yeah. So that's my multiplayer tier list. I know this is going to get some people fired up. So, you know, we'll see how that one goes in the comments. So I say all that to say, Halo obviously means a lot to me. There are other even Halo videos on this channel. I love Halo. I love the campaigns, and I love the multiplayer, and I've played a lot of them. And so that is my comprehensive 2 separate tier lists for you in terms of the Halo campaigns and the Halo multiplayers. So that's that tier list. Make sure you subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a comment if you agree with me or disagree with me. Maybe leave your tier list in the comments and let me know. Thanks for watching.